Have you ever said to someone, or maybe they've said it to you, are you out of your mind? Have you lost your mind? And typically when we hear that, we hear it as like it's a negative thing, that someone's not being reasonable or someone's being ridiculous. You know, I wonder if we could take a look at perhaps being out of our mind and losing our mind could be a very good thing. Do you know that the number one source of unhappiness and suffering is your mind? It's your mind. We have the things that are happening in our life, but it's really the story we're telling ourselves about those things that are really causing the source of suffering and unhappiness. And it builds and builds and builds. And typically that comes when something's going our way, the mind says, okay, now I'm happy. It's going my way. It's when things don't go our way, that's when the mind is like, I'm not happy now. You're not happy. You have to have things go your way in order to be happy. And it builds and builds and builds. Have you ever freaked out? You have. And when we freaked out, what does that really do for us? Right? I'll give you like a little example. And this is crazy. Normally you never remember your dreams. For some reason I remember this dream. It happened Monday night into Tuesday morning. And the dream was, I was somewhere. I was in some seminar or workshop. It was a 4-day thing. And we were staying in this condo. I don't even remember who I was with. And the final day, we were supposed to gather up our things and go to this welcoming center. And we were supposed to turn in our keys to the condo, and they were going to go through a couple of closing things. And then we were going to go from there, we were going to go off to some airport or whatever, which was like in 27 minutes. 27 minutes. And so while we're over there, they're saying, okay, now, did you everybody empty out your dishwasher? I'm like, oh my God. I did not empty out my dishwasher. If you did not empty out your dishwasher, you're going to be fined. Oh my God, I'm going to be fined. How much am I going to be fined? You're going to be fined, sir. Well, but how much? Sign this piece of paper that you're being fined because you didn't empty out your dishwasher. I'm like, dread. How much am I being, I'm thinking like, well, if it's $20, I'm not going to go back. But if it's $5,000, I'm going back and emptying out that dishwasher. So I'm like all upset, and I decide, you know what? Maybe there's enough time to go back there, empty out the dishwasher, come back before we go. I got 27 minutes to do this. So I'm driving. Well, actually, I wasn't driving. Vinny was driving. I don't know where he came from in this dream. So Vinny's driving, and we're going to go on the turnpike or whatever to get back to where the condo was. And as we get up there, the exit ramp is closed. And I have to admit this, Vinny said, damn it. That's what happened. Oh no. So I'm going to be late, I'm not going to get back in time, I'm going to be fine, and I remember waking up with this like dread. I still don't even know how much I was going to be fined for. I was going to be fine. Just like, oh. And then it's, it takes a little while to realize none of that's real. You're not being fined. You did empty out the dishwasher. Can you relate to that? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Now, that in a way, we know that in a dream it's not real. Right? We're just making all of that up. But guess what? We do that when we're consciously awake. We're making it up. We're making up the dread. We're making up the worry. We're making up the oh my God. And we're creating this whole narrative. And So what happens is that we get identified with our thinking. Now, when you're dreaming, you're completely immersed in the dream. It's just there's no difference between the dream and reality. But the same thing is with thinking. So now, think about this, right? I've probably said this a lot of times. A human being, will have 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000. Now, notice I said the word have and not think. You're actually not even thinking the thoughts. Your mind is having thoughts. Now, your thoughts are going to be a little different than mine because we have all these different experiences, but it just becomes the same thematical thing. So the thoughts you have today are going to be like yesterday and Friday and Thursday, and the theme of those thoughts are going to be negative, worry, fear. Create some narrative about that. 60,000 thoughts. So like when you think of it, you have a digestive system. You do not digest your food. Your digestive system digests your food. You do not have, you're not thinking your thoughts. Your mind is a thought-thinking machine. Your mind has thoughts. That's what the mind does. It has thoughts. So it's blah, 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 blah. Now the idea is, the secret out of this jail and the suffering is to become more of a witnesser of your thoughts. In other words, what happens is, you ever do that where you're sitting there all by yourself and you're starting having a thought and you keep thinking the thought and thinking the thought and you're going, I'm going to call that. I'm going to call it. Or I'm going to get up and go to the store now because I had this thought. So you have the thought, and then out of that you act or you say something. So one good thing might be to measure twice, cut once, have a thought, think of it, observe it, and wait. You don't have to necessarily act upon that thought. You can wait and see if whether an hour later, a day later, you might be like, I don't even have that thought anymore. It's gone. So we can become identified with the thought. So I wonder if we could look at this as, now it's 11:25, so we're a little late. Everybody have coffee and everything? So now, because we're going to get really deep here. Think about who you are. I always say this, right? As marvelous as all of you look, who are you? We are invisible, spiritual consciousness. You're an awareness in your body. I'm standing here and I'm aware of you. I'm noticing you. This awareness is aware of you. Just an awareness. That's who you are. Pure awareness. Pure consciousness. Now, if we think of the sun, you ever go into an airplane? I remember the first time as a kid, right? You're cloudy, and then you go up, 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 and then you go above the clouds, and you're like, whoa, look at the sun. And then it occurs to you, the sun is always there. It never moves. It's always radiating heat, warmth, light. It's always there. And if we think of the sun in terms of this ultimate consciousness, the living God, it's always there. It's always emanating wisdom and intelligence and calm and power. To use the word today about, may you have the glory of God inside of you, and may that develop in your life. This, the glory of God, the power of the living God. It's always there, always radiating, always, and that who you are as pure awareness is you're always aligned with that. Always. Now, even when you think of let's enter into stillness, actually, you are always still. What you're trying to do is free your mind up a little bit to realize that you already are still. You're not becoming still. You're accessing the stillness that's already there. So now, imagine the clouds come in, and then they block the experience of the sun. You ever have that? You know, I love to float in a pool, and the sun, and then you see that cloud, ooh, that's going to come in. What if you were to think of the clouds as your thoughts, and your worry, and your fears, and they just keep creeping in, and next thing you know, it's blocking you from this experience of this divine energy. It's always there, but it's our thoughts that get in the way. So we have pure awareness, then we have a thought, a negative thought, a worry thought, and then we have this emotion, dread, angst, anger, fear. And if it keeps going, we'll freak out. I know I've mentioned this before, there's that floating tank where you're in Epsom salt. So I did that yesterday. Again, this is my second time. And what you're doing is you're floating, so you kind of lose your sense of your body because you're so buoyant from the Epsom salt. And I'm laying there, and I decided to go with silence. No music. You can have music or anything like that. I'm floating there. Now, of course, I'm there, and I'm thinking thoughts. I'm thinking, like, I wonder how long I've been here. How much more time do I have? Okay, let me bring myself back to being quiet and still. And I'm thinking, this was yesterday afternoon, so I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to say in the homily? Hey, maybe I'll use a little bit of this while I'm all going on, right? But what was starting to happen for me, more and more, is I was realizing that I am this awareness floating, and I'm noticing my thoughts. That's the key thing. You are not your thoughts. You're having them. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotion. You are an awareness that is alive in your body, and you have thoughts which create your emotion. And what we need to do is work on and practice living in that awareness. That's what Jesus called oneness with the divine. That's what Jesus called the kingdom of heaven. Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit. The kingdom of heaven is theirs." What does it mean to be poor in spirit? It means to just, that's all I got. That's all I am, is spirit. If I'm poor in spirit, the kingdom of heaven is mine. It's when I get into all this other nonsense that it gets in the way, it disrupts me. I mean, right now I have a situation where I help this guy out a lot, and he owes me money. He owes me about $40,000, and he pays a little bit, but he doesn't really pay what he's supposed to pay. And I'm thinking, I have to go back to court and everything like that. No, I'm telling you, 5 years ago, I was freaking out over things like this. And I'm saying to myself, I am not going to let anything interrupt my bliss right now of pure being. I want to spend the rest of the Sunday afternoon experiencing being alive, experiencing the sacredness of life, which can only happen in this moment. Like right now, we're all together. To enjoy and be in the sacredness of this moment, the more we can do that, we live in this kingdom of heaven. It's a state of being. And our mind comes in and takes, we're in the state of being, and our mind goes, oh, I'll be with you in a minute. I've got 15 problems to think about. I'm going to go over here. And I leave this. So the idea of it is, notice We're all going to have these thoughts. But the idea is, if the more I can be a noticer, a witnesser of that, that's the ticket out. You know, it's almost like if you have a cat, because cats are they're up at night, right? You're in your bed and you hear this banging and God only knows what's running around and everything like that, right? Now, if you can be an observer and know, oh, it's the cats, no problem. But if not, you're freaking out thinking 5 people are coming in and robbing you blind. You gotta know the source of the noise. Know the source of it. If you could recognize that the thoughts you're having are like really nothing, it's just thoughts, right? They come in and they kind of go, by the way, did you think about that problem? You got a lot to worry about over there. Oh, thanks for reminding me. This is what it does all the time. And we need to be able to do this because God has a dream for us. God knows who we can be, this beauty, this ability to love that is inside each one of us, to be accessed, to give away, to build up the kingdom of heaven. I think with Zacchaeus, you know, you think like, what was good? They say he was small in stature. I don't know, did he have like a Napoleon complex or something? He was little, you know, hey, everybody's better, you know, whatever. He feels inadequate. I know what I'll do. I'll extort money, I'll rip everybody off, and then that'll make me feel better. That will make me feel more. And of course, he's miserable. He's not happy doing all that. He's got all the money in the world, but he's not happy. And he hears about this Jesus coming along. He's like, I gotta find out about this guy. There's something about this guy that I don't have. There's something about his presence and his essence that I want inside of me. He's realizing there's nothing out there that's going to make you happy. You know, I'm going to seek being happy. I got to have this relationship. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have these things outside of me to make me happy. Look, there's plenty of people out there who have all of those things, and they're not happy. Because happiness isn't about something external happening or not happening. Happiness is always an internal state of being. And when Zacchaeus encounters Jesus Christ, not only does he encounter Jesus Christ, he encounters his true and authentic self. And in that meeting, in that healing experience, Zacchaeus goes from inadequacy to wholeness of being and says, I'm going to give back everything I ever stole from anybody fourfold. I am free. And Jesus says, salvation has come to this house. Saved from what? Saved from the distortion of who we think we are. Saved from the torture of our mind. Zacchaeus is free. Can you imagine if we could live the rest of our life out of our mind, lose our mind, and just live every day in just pure awareness of life itself. And again, I know there's problems, but when we're living in that state, there's solutions that come to our problems. If we could live out of our mind, we could lose our mind, and the day comes when we're called by the living God to leave our body, and he says, wait, I'm leaving my body now? I'm going into the kingdom of heaven? And that life in the body, that's over now? I'm living my life? I'm out of my mind? All of a sudden we go, wow!
That was easy.